Good day, everybody. Welcome back to the flight deck. We're here in Columbus, Ohio, continuing our tour of the U.S. capitals. Today we're flying north up to Michigan and the capital city of Lansing. And I believe we have someone beside us there. I think that's Kevin. So it should be good. Couple aircraft making the flight today. Let's hop on board and we can start getting her all set up and ready to go. Alright, so here we are on board the aircraft, and if we pop out we can look over. Oh, it was there. Not sure where he's gone. Anyway, we can get the doors closed in the back and we can start getting her set up and ready to go. Let's pop up top. We are going to deploy the battery cart, and battery cart is set. Not sure what the warning horn is. Interesting. First time I've heard that. Oh. Landing gear lever was up. Alright, so we are here and ready to get her fired up and going. Not sure why my fuel didn't take. Let me just adjust the fuel level. I thought I had. Oh, I remember. I had to come out for a second. There we go. Fuel is loaded up and we are good to go. Changing controls. Ah, there you are. Air New England. Very nice. Hey, a little close to my wingtip there, buddy. But we are ready to get her up and running. So, let's go through that. First thing we're going to do is come down here, turn the fuel tanks on to the mains. There's left main and right main are set. And we can come up top. We're going to turn on our position lights and our beacon lights. And just running down everything here. We're going to start right engine first. So magnetos on, boost pumps on, generators on. I'm going to put the prop fully forward and mixture to auto rich. I'll open the window for the start. Is that what you're flying? Oh. Oh well. It is interesting though. And we will start energizing the right engine. We'll open up the window on this side as well as we get ready to start. Alright, she sounds good. Meshing and prime. Go. Engine is up and running. I do love how when I come in here, we got different stuff on the outside there. Kevin's firing up. Alright, let's get over to the other engine. We'll get the mags set to both. Generators on, boost pump is on. Prop fully forward. Mixture set to auto rich. Energizing left. You can hear her winding up. And meshing and prime. And there's the second engine up and going. Alright, she's starting to come up. Oh, looking good. We can switch over to our internal battery, disconnect the battery cart from outside. And, oop, should be rolling there. Parking brakes are on. Alright, so as they all come up, we'll turn on our avionics and our pitot heat. And we can start tuning in our first nav aid. So we're actually going to go to there we go. 122.8. Kevin, I'm going to be on the voice channel in Discord if you want to join me there. And 121.5 for guard frequency. There we go. And our first waypoint channel, our first waypoint is the BUD VOR, and that is a frequency of 109.8. So we'll dial that in. There we go. And our second one is going to be the FBC VOR of 108.2. We'll dial that in. And that's it for VORs. Other than that, we just got a long straight shot. We're going to map and compass and stopwatch. So they are now plugged in. They should be good to go. Engines are up and looking good. Temperatures and pressures are all coming up. So let me quickly grab the weather. Do an update, see if there's any change. Winds are 010 at 8, 10 miles of visibility, overcast. More broken than overcast, but yeah, overcast 3900, 21 degrees, 2997. It's going to be more up around that end. There we go, something like that. We'll orientate the gyros, make sure they're all set. We're going to come down here and switch our hydraulics over for the gyro pilot. There we go. Alright, runway we're going to be using today is going to be runway, get me charts up. Really, it's half a dozen. At 010, it makes no difference. It's a 90-degree crosswind either way we go. So I think we're going to use 28 right. We'll go around the apron, and we'll go there. So we're going to swing around here, come out to the taxiway, down around the back of the apron, and go over to 28 right, which is down over there. It's kind of almost the closest one anyway. I just want to check airport elevation, 815 feet, so we are showing correctly on the setting here. So our initial heading is going to be roughly 280. Alright, I think we are good to go. We've got our taxi lights on. And once again, Kevin, if you didn't hear me, I'm on the channel on the Discord for the comms. Columbus area traffic, Allegheny 112 taxiing to runway 28 right, via apron Delta 4, Delta, Delta 2, Echo 1, holding short, runway 28 right. Alright, brakes are released. We'll actually go out over here. Didn't realize Delta 5 was so close. Right. Hello, Liam. Kevin, if that was you, that was almost unreadable. It was so quiet. How are you doing today? Flight's about an hour and a half today. We're heading up to Lansing, Michigan from Columbus, Ohio. Columbus Terminal, Allegheny 112 radio check. You're clear, but no volume on it.
Just stand by one, I'll see what I can do.
Yeah, Molly's 3 months old today, which is pretty cool. She had a nice long walk this morning, and she's getting a special dinner. Little birthday dinner, and then we're going off to visit her cousin Nala and my sister's kids and all that stuff tonight. So she's going off for a little party celebration. You were a little bit louder, Kevin, at the end there. Yeah, I'm not doing too bad. Not doing too bad at all. It's a nice Wednesday. Temperature's getting a little bit cooler out here. It's a cloudy day today in the Toronto area, but apparently, according to the forecast, next
check.
Much better.
Fabulous, thank you.
The weather's supposed to get hot again next week, so yeah, we'll see what happens. Back up into the 30s. We are looking good. Coming down here to the hold point at Echo 1. And we should be all warmed up and ready to go by the time we get there. First Officer Molly, yeah. Although she's not in the cockpit right now, she's I'll call it the crew rest area, but she's out chewing on a chew toy out on her bed in the other room. All right. Let's get her stopped here. We'll get the brakes on and get ready to go. Alright, so brakes are on. Get the windows closed on both sides. Alright, so propellers are fully forward, mixtures auto rich, throttles are set, temperatures and pressures are looking good. Fuel is on the fullest tanks. Gyro pilot is set. Nav is set on the first VOR, a 109.8. Just check, double check. Yep, 109.8. We are set there. And so we're going to be taking off. We're going to be making a right-hand turnout towards the Buckeye VOR, which is basically to our north. And then we're going to turn northwest from there up to the Flag City VOR. And then from there, it's more north-northwest up past Toledo, Detroit, and then into Lansing, Michigan. Total distance of 184 miles. We'll be cruising at about 150 to 160 miles an hour. And we have a cruise altitude today of 10,000 feet. Alright, so we'll get everything else up and going. That's good there. We'll get the windshield heat on. De-ice we don't need. That's all good. Cockpit lights, it's not too dim, so we are pretty good there. And Columbus area traffic, Allegheny 112, take position, runway 28 right. There is no stream tomorrow, Liam. I don't stream on Thursdays. That is my day off. We will be back on Friday with the first of our new Citan Airlines streams, flying the 737-700 out of Denver, Colorado. It's our first flight of that series. See that crosswind there. Now I've done a bunch of performance jiggery pokery and fine-tuning of settings and everything. So we'll see how it looks. It should look a little bit nicer, and we should get a little bit better visuals without an impact on the frames, I'm hoping. I did my test last night. It seemed to be fine, but we'll see. We got all the streaming stuff up and running now. Here comes Kevin in his DC-3, so we are pretty much ready to go. Into the cockpit. We'll bring the flaps down to position 1/4 flaps. Columbus area traffic, Allegheny 112, departing runway 28 left to the west, right-hand turnout, northbound towards the Buckeye VOR. All right, here we go. Let's bring the engines up to about 1,500 RPMs. There we go. Brakes released. And bring manifold pressure to 40 inches. A little bit of forward pressure to help get that tail up. There's that crosswind. And working that rudder. Really blowing. There's 80 knots, a little bit of back pressure. Get her off the ground. We are hard over on the yoke, trying to deal with that crosswind. Positive rate, gear up. See the angle we're kind of flying at right now to try to keep her somewhat straight. There's flaps up. Friday, we're heading to Phoenix, Arizona. Bit of trimming. Don't want her to get too slow. Alright, down to climb power, so 30 inches. Bring the RPMs back to 2,500. Turn on the gyro pilot. get her leveled in there. So there's 1,000 feet. We're going to make our turn to the north at about a 350. Climb going. Alright, here's 2,000 feet. Keep the landing lights off. Anyone taking? Dylan, not sure what you mean by that. I can't wait till we fly to Salt Lake City. It is in the list. I think it's within the first. When I looked at the list of flights, it's within the first dozen flights. We'll be heading up to Salt Lake City, so shouldn't be too long. And we are flying them in sequence. So 1098 on the VOR. We're not picking it up as of yet. We're an F-16 off that way. Let's bring this around to 0 degrees. That should get us heading straight for it when it kicks in. 100 knots. We're at 300 feet. Power's starting to ease, so we'll come up on the throttles. There we go. And flaps can come up. Spoilers are spoilers. Cowl flaps are all open. Readjust for that 115 or so, 110 knot climb speed. Kevin should be up. There he is. And we are on our way. Kevin, you said that was the wrong livery. That Air New England. What are you actually flying? Let's get the map up so we can see where we are. There we go. And we're heading up mid Michigan. Right up around there. Or actually might be a little bit further. Up around there. Oh, don't start doing that. If you do that again, I'm gonna close you down. Yep. It's acting up today. Again, we're climbing up to 10,000 feet for today's cruise level. Let's bring that power up. Playing Chrome Cargo. Is it a FlightSim.to livery or is it a default one? Because if it's a FlightSim.to, that's probably why I couldn't find it, so I just threw you into another one that was around. It's 10 degrees out at this altitude, and we can see we got that overcast layer. Hopefully we'll end up above it. Gotta say, not noticing any hits on the performance. It's looking really, really good. So really happy with the adjustments I made, and it looks beautiful looking outside. Does this plane have an autopilot? Yes and no. it does not have an autopilot, but it does have what's called a gyro pilot. So the gyro pilot uses gyroscopes to stabilize the airplane. This is it here. So what I did earlier is I turned the hydraulics on so that the hydraulics were powering the gyro pilot. And then what this does is, using built-in gyroscopes, it will balance the trim on the plane and hold it at an angle. So right now I have it climbing at roughly about 110 knots. So it's giving me a positive rate of climb. So that's giving us that, and then it's using the gyroscope for left and right in here, so it can tune in left and right with this gyroscope. It cannot follow a route. I can't program anything in and have it follow it. It doesn't do that, and it doesn't have anything to do with ILS landings or RNAV or approaches and departures. It's just a very simple way of having it hold a pitch, either positive for climb, negative for descent, or allow it to hold a heading. The problem is it's working off a gyroscope, and lovely, we're coming to the top of the clouds. The gyroscopes will precess over time. You get gyroscopic precession, so they will slowly get out of true. And what you're supposed to do is, using your compass here, which is a wet compass, it's floating in liquid, and it's suspended by these bungee cords to try to isolate it from the vibrations of the aircraft. You would, every 10 to 15 minutes, you would double check. So you would look here, say this is pointing right to north. You would then come down, see where this is pointing, and then you would adjust it to the bottom one, which is your main gyro indicator, so that it matched, and that's how you would realign. And then this, which is the one that you turn to set which course you want, matches to that one. So it's constant finicky adjustments. And gyro drift is modeled in this airplane, so this will drift off, and you can use either the compass or use the key command to reset it, which is what I do. But basically you would use the compass. And you had to do that when I was flying the small Cessnas and stuff like that. That is something I was constantly having to do, is keep resetting the directional gyro off of the compass, because you use the directional gyro for flight because it's a little more stable, it's not bouncing around, and it's easier to read, but it does drift and you've got to reset it. So no autopilot, but I can fine tune it. And we just kicked in with the VOR, the needle for nav 1 just kicked over. Our speed's starting to come down, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring us down to a slightly less rate of climb, about 500 feet per minute. That'll keep the speed from getting too slow. We're coming up for 8,000 feet. Power's coming back as the atmosphere thins out, so we're going to add some power. And we are looking good. 2,000 feet to go to cruise altitude. You can, I can trim. It's more like setting the trim, so I can't tell it to stay at 10,000 feet. But what I can do is, when it gets to 10,000 feet, I can play with it until we're balanced in trim and she's staying around 10,000 feet. And then I can leave it there. She'll drift up and down because of wind and air density and stuff like that. So you're always, again, constantly making little adjustments to account for that. But I can't just say go to 10,000 feet and stay there. It doesn't have that capability. Anyway, there's 8,500 feet. Looking good. Add a little bit more power. climbing up. There's Kevin pulling a Nick, getting in front of me there. He's decided to take the slow approach. Are you going up to 10,000, Kevin, or are you going to be staying a little bit lower? So we're going to aim to level for somewhere around 10,000 feet. Then we'll go into our cruise power settings and get the aircraft set up for cruise. And believe it or not, this is the way they flew these things across the Atlantic, taking them over to Europe during the Second World War. Of course, they didn't fly them non-stop. They went to Gander, Newfoundland, and then they flew from there to Greenland, Greenland to Iceland, and then Iceland down into England. So like a 3-day hop. There's 10,000 feet coming up, so we're going to crank down on our climb. Let the aircraft speed start coming up, and of course, the whole thing with airplanes is power controls pitch. So you have to trim to the speed. So what we're going to do is we're going to keep adjusting the trim until we're no longer accelerating or decelerating, and that will mean that we have trimmed the aircraft out to that speed to maintain roughly level flight, because it's going to keep wanting to creep up slowly. Get that power. Now my throttles are fully forward. We're just below 35 inches, so we're starting to get into thinner air. Get that pitch, and you can see as our speed keeps building up, she wants to start climbing again, so I keep telling it, edging it down, and as I edge it down to level, she starts accelerating again, and then she wants to climb, so I edge it down again. And this is what you do until you get her up to about your cruise speed, which is somewhere in the 160 knot range. So we're at 140, so we're going to start switching over into our cruise settings. So we're going to put the cowl flaps into trail mode, so they're going to partially close. It's going to decrease drag and allow us to go a little bit faster. We'll give a couple downward notches on the trim. And we're going to come back now. So we're going to bring the prop RPM back to 2,000. Makes it a little bit quieter in here. Bit of a coarser gear to help us go faster. And we're going to bring the engine power setting back to 30 inches. And we'll retune the props. We'll forward on the trim to get the nose down into level flight again. And now that we're there, we can also bring the mixture back into auto lean, which means he's using just enough fuel for this air. There's a, can't remember the name of it. It's a ratio of fuel to air mixture for optimum burning. So that adjusts it down into the optimum fuel. See, she's going down a little bit as we settle in, so we'll bring her back up. Get her into that level mode. There's 165 miles per hour. I keep saying knots, but it's not. It is miles per hour in this airplane. There we go, and we are cruising. Of course, you'd have different power settings if you wanted to go for extended range. You would adjust your power settings to maximize your fuel load. You could do maximum speed, cruise to get you there faster. All different types of power settings, but for the normal one, it's about 30 inches and 2,000 RPM. And we just chug along. Not sure where Kevin's gotten to. But once again, we're heading roughly northwards. On top of the cloud layer here. And heading up towards that Buckeye VOR. Maybe 157 miles to go. So let's put on a little bit of music while we're here. Let's see what we can put on for today. I haven't listened to this one for a bit. Let's get that going in the background. Let me know if it's too loud. Just try to keep within a couple hundred feet of that 10,000 mark. So outside air temperature is still about 8 or 9 degrees. It's looking good as we cruise along the top of the cloud deck. Not seeing much in the way of clouds out ahead of us, so we should be pretty good visually. Turn off the boost pumps, don't need those on. Engine's providing that. And everything else is looking good. So we're coming up to the Bud VOR. We're just about 8 miles away. So what we're going to watch for, there's the next VOR coming in now, the Flag City VOR. What we're going to watch for is the needle swing. So as we approach the VOR, VORs broadcast outwards, but they don't broadcast up. So when you fly over a VOR and the needle goes dead, you're right over top of it. But what you'll see is often you're off to one side or the other, you'll see it start to swing. And that means you're getting really close to it and you're about to pass it. You can also see the deflection on the radial as it goes. You can see this is now starting to move a little bit more. If we were to dial this in, so we were on the radial, so we're not flying directly to it, so you got to see it slowly start to swing off. There she goes. So we're coming up along, and you can see the needle starting to turn sideways as we're about to pass overhead. So that's how you know when you're out of VOR. So the next VOR, it's going to be a heading of, look it up, it's 356, 314. 314 degrees to the next VOR. So if we use this, we can kind of put that in. So there's 330, 320, 314 will be somewhere about there. So that's the way we're going to turn. 314. You see us swinging by the VOR there. So we've now passed it. So we can come up here to our gyro pilot and we can tell it we want to go to 314, which would be about there. So we're now into the turn. And what we can do is we can come up top. We're going to switch over the VOR. You see they're now both pointing in the same way, 1 and 2. And we're slowly starting to come around. So we're not heading directly to it. That's generally because of winds and everything like that. So we're going to adjust. We want to go a little bit more to the west. So we're going to adjust back to a 310. We'll see how that does, setting us up there. If we dial this around, we can kind of get it in as well. So this wants us to about almost to 300. So we'll go to 300. And we'll get her lined up. And we're 37 miles off to the Flag City VOR. And we're almost heading directly towards it now. We can make that adjustment there. Nice little visual reference there. And then away we go. There's Kevin behind us. She won't go to 10 even with the blowers on. Gonna drop to 8. Really? That's odd. How heavy are you? Did you load up in good Ohio corn? Interesting. Oh, my other question is, are you doing the same route I'm doing? Alright, you can see we're slightly off, but that's fine. We can fine-tune that a couple notches. And she'll settle in. We're holding good at 10,000 feet, 160 miles an hour. We have a ground speed of 158, so we're not doing too bad. It's giving us a slight wind since that ground speed's in knots, which are bigger than statute miles. And everything is looking good. I don't have any inside shots. I remember that now. Flew in the back of a DC-3 once. It was not set up in a passenger configuration. It was set up in a military configuration, so there were canvas jump seats. But it was a pretty neat flight. It is noisy. The passenger version would have had a little bit more sound insulation, but still would have been fairly noisy in the back. And this would be roughly the flight you would fly at, just above a lot of the weather, although not all of it. You get some nice summer storms, you'd still be flying around them. But we're doing good. 140 miles to go. Once again, once we get up to the next turn point, we're going to head in that north-northwest direction. We're going to be passing to the west of Toledo. I don't think we'll be seeing much with the cloud cover. And then, of course, we're passing west of Detroit as well. If we take a look at the Lansing weather currently, it is saying the skies are clear. Interesting. So maybe this weather is going to clear up as we get further north. You have one extra VOR. Carlton? Oh wow, you're going all the way over there. Okay. I'm going to tune in a couple just as references, Toledo and Jackson, but Carlton's kind of offset. You're heading up towards Detroit. But I'm going to tune in Toledo 1125. It was a bit off course, so I didn't want to use it, but I'll just use it as a reference on VOR2. And same as Jackson, it's a little bit closer to the route, but I'll just use it as a reference so I know when I'm passing by it. And you can do that with the VORs, so it is a good 15-20 miles off to our east, the Toledo VOR, but as we fly up, once it picks us up, when it turns to the flat horizon there, I know the VOR is right off my right wingtip, so it gives me a rough idea of cross-checking en route. Really trimmed out well. Now as we burn fuel, which we are doing slowly because we are in auto lean, we are going to see a slight weight shift, so that may start to affect our trim, but at the moment we are good. Owl rods. So there is the 3 models. There's the standard version, I think, the deluxe, and then premium deluxe. The premium deluxe, which is the top one, includes the 787 model and the 747 model. I'm not sure what the deluxe one has. I think it's just one of them. You don't get every plane because a lot of them have come out later and some of them are third party. Let me just look up. So the deluxe comes with the basic set plus these aircraft. Okay, so these are the extra ones you get with the deluxe. If you go with the premium deluxe, you also get these 5. So the 747 comes with the base one. The 787 comes with the premium deluxe. The deluxe, which is the middle one, comes with that first group of aircraft on top of the base planes. And let me get the base planes so that you can see it. No. Oh, go away. And there's 20 airplanes, the 747, the Airbus, the King Air, you know, stuff like that. I'm sure there's a chart that shows. Let me. Let me see if I can find it. So here's a link that shows it in a little bit better format. If you want to take a look at that, I'll show you the aircraft. You can see we're about almost 30 degrees off from the VOR, so we're going to turn to about a 3.3 or 3.13. Start heading back up towards that VOR. We're also starting to get close to it, so. Turned 10 degrees there, not 30. Come around a slight bit more. Final course we're going to want as we head up towards Lansing is going to be 346 degrees, roughly. Come in here. 346 is going to be about there. So the thing with the sim though is depending on what you want to fly will depend on what version you want to get. I fly, most of my flights are in the Phoenix A320, which is a third-party add-on. It's in the 737, which is a third-party add-on. We're going to be flying eventually some A330 flights, third-party add-on. So it's kind of up to you what you want to fly and what you want to spend your money on. And that's the thing with flight simming. Even had that back in the days of FSX, was buying the flight simulator is just your entry cost into the world of simulation. After that, it's add-on scenery. You know, most people spend well over $1,000 on add-ons. I've easily spent close to $2,000 so far on airports and scenery and aircraft and stuff like that. So it's a long-time hobby and it's not cheap, but I mean, look at the views. That's just fun. You can't tell me that doesn't look real. Looks fantastic. And if you like flying, you like aviation, you like the world, you like doing this stuff, I mean, there's no better thing. This is similar to the truck sim, American Truck Sim or Euro Truck Sim. You don't have to spend the money on it, but you can spend a lot of time getting free add-ons and other add-ons and models and stuff to change it up, make it look real. The trucks, replace the fake cars with real cars, real businesses. And I know people that have done that, and they, that's what they do. They drive trucks and they spend the time doing that. It's what they enjoy. All right, we're going to turn now. We can see the needle is starting to come around, so we're going to head up that 248 or 346, which is going to put us up to about there. And we are going to fly past the VOR, so this needle will swing around. But ideally, we want it kind of pointing almost dead back from us as we fly away and head up towards the up to Lansing. And we've got 117 miles to go. So we're just coming abeam the VOR. Down over here somewhere. We're not too far from it. Kevin's heading up towards that Charlton VOR, which is up over here. But yeah, what a great day to go flying. Everything is looking fantastic. I'm going to turn a few more degrees in the northward direction. There we go. And we are going along. So I'm going to step out for a second. Just go take a look at Molly, make sure she's okay. And I will be right back. Let's get a nice view out the front there. Back in 2 minutes. and back. And it does look like the clouds are starting to clear up ahead, so maybe the skies clear out at Lansing was not inaccurate. What was that weather report put out? 1735. No, sorry, that's a tap. 1953. So, half an hour ago. It's not bad. 3003 is the current pressure. So if we come down, we can set 30. We're starting to climb. There's the fuel imbalance, or the fuel change starting to cause us to go up as the balance in the aircraft shifts. So we will head down slightly. Try to get us back down to that 10,000 feet. Alright, you can see we're pointing back towards the VOR behind us. I'm going to make another adjustment of a few more degrees north just to keep us on that line. We're going to head downwards at about 50 to 100 feet per minute just until we get back down to that 10,000 feet. Alright, let's head down to the panel here. Take a look. So everything is looking good here. Airspeed set at 160. We're down to 300 feet. Slowly descending, as you can see on the vertical speed indicator. And we are heading in about a 352 degree heading. Everything's looking good on the VOR. It's not picking up the Toledo VOR yet. That thin needle will swing when we start picking that up. First Officer Molly is now in the jump seat, lying on the floor behind me. Everything else is looking good here. We can, if we want, dial that around, pick up the radial we're actually on at the moment, although that's going to change as we fly away. Manifold pressure is looking good. RPMs are looking good. Let's get those needles synced up a little bit more. There we go. And we can move over to the center. There's our directional gyro. Just realigned it slightly. And our vertical. There's our differential gauge and our pressures for the control systems. Manifold pressure, RPMs are looking good. We can come down here. Oil pressure is at the top of the green, which is fine. Fuel pressure is looking good here as well. We can come over to... can I get rid of you? Yes. So we'll come over here onto the co-pilot side where we got some more of the gauges. Duplication of our vertical speed, airspeed, and altimeter. Slip turn ball coordinator, which is looking good because we're straight and level flight at the moment. Here we have our oil temperature, which is a little on the high side, but that's fine. It's within operating limits. And our oil temperature on the other engine is about the same. So there's our left and right engine. Cylinder head temperatures left and right are slightly below medium or the midpoint, so that is fine. They're fairly cool. Engine's being kept cold. Here we have our carb temperature. You can see our carb temperature is down around 0 degrees, while the outside air temperature is about 10. I'll explain why that happens in a second. Hydraulic pressure is good. De-icing pressure, we're not using de-icing at the moment. Fuel pressure, both left and right engines are good, about 15.5 pounds. And our outside air temperature is looking good. There's our fuel, main tanks, our auxiliary tanks, and it is all looking good. Come over here, there's our hydraulic pressure for the gauges and the landing gear. And if we look up, we can see our generators are generating power. So why is the carb temperature less than the outside air temperature? Well, the inside of the carb has a venturi. That's what speeds up the airflow as it comes in and helps atomize the fuel as it's injected into the carburetor. And due to physics, the faster a gas is moving, the lower the temperature and the lower the pressure. So the air temperature inside the venturi of the carburetor actually drops. And if you have moisture in the air, such as flying through clouds and stuff like that, that moisture, when it gets into the carburetor and the temperature is, cold, it can start to freeze. So when they talk about worrying about icing from 10 degrees below. This is why it's 10 degrees out, but our carbs are reading 0. So you could get moisture freezing on the surface of the carbs. And if you had moisture freezing on the surface of the carbs, it interrupts the flow, and that causes you to lose power in the engine. So something that you always got to watch out for. And in some aircraft, depending on how advanced they are, it is modeled. And I think with the Ductworks modification to this airplane, it is modeled there. So you can get carb icing, and you'll see your power, your speed will start to drop, and it causes problems. The way you deal with that is with these levers here. It redirects hot air from around the exhaust shroud into the carburetor, and that hot air raises the temperature, and that will melt the ice inside. It takes a minute or two for that to happen, and it will melt the ice inside and provide air warm enough that you won't get freezing. But you do get reduced power a little bit, not as much as obviously if you get ice buildup. And of course, ice buildup can end up blocking the venturis and the fuel injectors, and that leads to a whole other set of problems. That is a hazard with carbureted aircraft, and something we're always watching on. And you can get carb ice in clear weather. It just depends on the humidity level of the air and the temperature inside the carb. Alright, we are 81 miles to go. So, coming up to Lansing Airport. Winds are currently 030, 010, 35, 34, 36, 02. So the winds are basically northeast. So we're going to land on runway 06. Runway 06 is a short runway, but it's long enough for us. So here it is here. So we're going to come in. We're going to overfly the airfield as we come in, when they're going to then make a turn to the northwest. So we cross 06 basically at a 90-degree angle, and then we'll go into a left downwind pattern, flying out and around, and then landing on 06. We should be able to get off at Bravo, maybe on runway 10, and taxi around. And we're going to be heading towards the transient ramp over here, which is just off to the side of the terminal. Or maybe we can park out here, depending on what structures and stuff are out here. We're not going to go up to any jetways, obviously. But if there's no jetways here, we can pull right up in front. So that is the plan, runway 06. So 1125, I never did tune in the Toledo VOR. Oh, it is in there, 1125. Should be right off our side. We just lost the Flag City one, which is fine. So we're going to tune in Jackson on 11545. 11545. And then we've got 112.5, which is not picking up. That's fine. We'll see if Jackson comes in. Again, it's a cross-reference checkpoint for us. So we're going to start our descent at about 30 miles out. So we've got about 50 miles to go. And we're going to be heading down to circuit height. Circuit height for the airport is 1,000 feet above airport elevation. 1,861 feet, so circuit height's going to be, say, 1,900 feet. And that will be good. So we'll start down again, like I said, about 30 miles out, and do a nice gentle descent downwards. Oop, left the chart on. We can pull that away now. So everything is looking good. There's Kevin over there. Yeah, beautiful day to go flying. No high clouds, so it's just a good cloud deck. And then we're clear, but this is our destination. And as I said in the METAR, skies are clear, so it is looking that way. This, of course, is off towards the lakes, and a lot of the moisture coming off the lakes is creating this cloud cover. Right, everything is still looking good. Just checking on everything. We're dipping slightly below 10,000 feet now, so we will dial in a little bit just to get us level again. There we go. And 40 miles to go for top of descent. Would be interesting to see if we could fly this thing around the world. I mean, I know we did it in the DC-6, but the DC-6 is faster than this thing. Be interesting to check the maximum ranges and plot a course. The Pacific would be hard unless we were to go up through Japan and then out over to the Aleutian Islands and then down the northwest Pacific coast of the US and Canada. That'd be a lot of flights though. I'm not sure what the range of a DC-3 is. Let's take a look. Range of a DC-3, 1,500 miles. Since it has a cruising speed of 200 miles an hour, I've never gotten it up to 200 miles an hour. Let's see. DC-3 power settings. A lot of stuff for the sim aircraft. DC-3 power settings. Props are reduced to 2050. Well, I'm at 2000. Power reduced to 30 inches. That's where I am. Manifold mixture is auto lean. 32 inches, 2000. Yeah. It says that, but it seems I'm within the ballpark on the power setting. So 30-20 seems to be a pretty good. I've seen 30, 31. It's all good. Alright, we're going to tick back slightly over that way. Just trying to keep ourselves tracking out towards the airport. 57 miles to go. And we are looking good. So, seems to be the best power settings if you can do it as 30-20. It's a good ballpark average for economy cruise. Obviously, if we were getting any higher and I didn't have the space on the throttles to hit 30, we'd have to put on the blowers. And what the blowers do, blowers are like superchargers. They push pressurized air into the carbs to simulate lower altitude for more power. So if you run out of range, you'd bring the power back to about 20, and then you'd engage the blowers, which would kick your available up to about 35 or so, and then you could adjust at that point. Because this aircraft could go up to, was it 19,000 feet? DC-3 max altitude. Again, a lot of stuff on the sim aircraft. Where's my stats? Service ceiling 23,000 feet. So, not sure if we'd actually get it up that high, but certainly get it up into the high teens. No way reaching 180 knot cruise speed. Not in this thing. Alright, but the skies have definitely cleared up. See the edge of the clouds there heading out towards the lakes. There's Kevin. There's your mommy. And we're just cruising along. So I'm sure they've been serving gin and tonics and stuff in the back. It's a nice afternoon flight after all. And a couple Manhattans maybe, some small finger sandwiches. But I think we're getting ready to start contemplating our descent in about 20 miles. So our ground speed, let's go by our miles per hour. So 160 miles an hour, we got 20 miles to go. So 160 miles takes 60 minutes. Half of that, 80 miles, would take 30 minutes. Half of that, 40 miles, would take 15 minutes. Half of that, 20 miles will take 7.5 minutes. So we're 7.5 minutes from top of descent. Roughly. 180 knots is VNE. I don't know. You can see my red line here on the miles per hour is just over 250. So power settings are fine, fuel burn is fine, and airspeed is what it is. I think that's the best way to look at it. Alright, so where are we exactly? Well, we're just about to cross over Cambridge Junction. coming up to the little town of Brooklyn. That's her right there. There's a little Brooklyn airport. And some nice lakes here. They do say Michigan is called Lake Country, so. Does seem to be a lot of lakes out this way. Spent a lot of time up northern Michigan, kind of like further north from where we're going when I was doing joint training with the U.S. Army. Number of years I would come up here and spend a month or so in the summer with them. There's another little airfield coming up. Oh, there's a couple airfields coming up. One of them indicating there's parachutists, so that's pretty good. Beautiful day to go parachuting. Well, it might be a little bit breezy. What are the winds? 8 gusting 14. Yeah, might be a little bit breezy. But we are looking good. Nice lakes here we're about to fly over. And then we've got the town of Jackson right here. We're coming up to that. VOR is out here. There's the airport, the Jackson Airport. It should be picking it up. Not sure why it's not picking it up. Let's see. 11545, 11545. Just don't know. Interesting. That's okay. We're flying past it on the correct side anyway, so that's not a major issue. Flying by the town. We do have some major roads going in there, and of course we're using our maps and everything for navigation at this point. Let's get a little bit more nose down. We don't want to be climbing. Our intention is to start losing all that altitude shortly. So for descent, the old trick in the Cessna 172s was every 100 RPM you pulled off was 100 feet per minute descent you were going to get. So if you wanted to go on a 500 foot per minute descent in the Cessna 172, you just pull 500 RPM off the engine and she'll just automatically head down at that speed. Because again, the aircraft is trimmed for speed, so it wants to maintain that, whatever speed you were at, say 110 knots. In order to maintain that 110 knots, it has to be descending 500 feet per minute if you pull 500 RPM off. So it's a nice rough way to do it without having to do too much fussing about. So after Jackson, we've got a little bit of open countryside out here as we head up towards the town of Lansing. Lansing, of course, is the capital of Michigan. The city's population is just over 112,000. And it's in the mid-city area, or mid-state in Michigan, covering a lot of the educational, cultural, government, commercial, and industrial areas. It's actually got 2 medical schools, 1 veterinary school, 2 nursing schools, and 2 law schools. Of course, it's the Michigan State Capitol, home of the Supreme Court, the Court of Appeals, a federal court, the Library of Michigan, and yeah. So Michigan was apparently settled in the early 1800s. It was turned into a city in 1859 when it reached a population of 3,000 people. And by the end of the 1800s, it had become a big industrial powerhouse with some car companies such as Olds and REO Motors, and that moving in and setting up shop. It became a big car center for Oldsmobile. So Lansing is also well known for the elephant incident. In September 26, 1963, a 12-year-old, 3,000-pound female dancing elephant named Raji rebelled against her trainer during a performance at a shopping center circus near what was then Logan Street and Holmes Road in Lansing, and escaped into the street, aggravated by the frenzied pursuit of nearly 4,000 local residents. The incident ended with the shooting of the elephant by Lansing police. Provoked by the crowd, Raji's rampage took her through the menswear, sporting goods, gift departments of a local discount store, before leading police on a 2-mile chase in which she knocked down and injured a 67-year-old man, tried to move a car, and caused thousands of dollars of damage. Well, so they should have probably just left the elephant alone. But that's where we're headed to, Lansing, Michigan. Home of the capital of the state of Michigan. So we're going to head down now. So I'm going to pull the power back to 20 inches. There we go. Power's back and we are starting to descend. We are kind of VFR flying here, so we don't have to worry too much about radio calls at the moment. We'll make them as we get closer to the airport and do VFR call outs there. We're also going to, let's go nose down a little bit, get that 500 foot per minute roughly descent rate, 500 or 600 feet, that's fine. We can monitor and adjust as we go. We're going to watch that power output on the engines as we get into the thicker air. As it will start to increase, so we're going to want to keep pulling that back. We're going to be passing, looks like, by the town of Leslie and Mason before we fly over Lansing itself. The airport located pretty much central north of the town. So down here is the town of Leslie, and up here we have Mason, and then Lansing is right up here. Hopefully we don't meet any elephants. I don't think elephants... Oh, no, I shouldn't say they're not modeled in the sim, because they are. If we were in Africa, we could see them. But, yeah, I don't think they're modeled out here. Alright, so there's 9,000 feet coming up. And we're 22 miles out from the airport now. Lansing area traffic Allegheny 112. We are 20 miles to the southeast. Inbound, cross overhead the field at 1900 for the mid-left downwind runway 06 Lansing. It's 9,000 feet. 7,000 to go. I'm going to kick up that descent rate a little bit. There's that power starting to creep, so we'll pull that back. There's Mason coming up. Lansing does not have a VOR on the field. Don't really have anything on the field in the way of radio nav aids. Not even an ADF that I can see. Let me just go in here and see. There's nothing. Wow. It's rare to have a sort of major airport like that without any nav aids at all. Not even NDBs. Strange. Looks like it's all modern GPS navigation. Let's turn a few more degrees that way. It's 8,000 feet. Oops, so we're coming over the town of Mason now. This is the bottom end of Lansing. I think it's called Holt, and then the Lansing proper starts up here. So farm country here. Alright, we're about 13 miles. Still fairly high. So I'm going to start down. I'm going to turn off the gear warning horn, pull that power right back to 1500 or 15 inches. Alright, so this is Holt coming up. And that could be the airport right there. It is default scenery. I do not have a add-on scenery for that. Couldn't find one. At least not through flightsim.to.
That's traffic is my tanker in North Hamburg, radiating flight average 8 for 1,500. We're going to overhead the field for an approach to runway 16, 06.
This is Kevin coming in. He's descending. Still fair ways off. Can't see his aircraft yet. Yeah, definitely looks like an airport. .6,000 feet. down. Alright, so let's get the landing lights on. We may end up doing a bit of a funky extend and come back in to help get our altitude down. See what happens. It's 5,500. Probably should have started my descent at about 40 miles. Maybe 45. Local power plant. There's the airport. There's the other runway. Yeah, we're all looking good. It's 5,000 feet. Basically 3,000 to go. So the runway heading is 06. It's going to be that way. A little bit more accurate, 06. Oh, 058, so that's pretty good. There we're coming in, so we're going to turn to a heading of 320. Coming over the head of the field, 3,000 feet. Lansing area traffic, Allegheny 112, crossing overhead the field, 3,000 feet for the mid downwind runway 06 Lansing. Yeah, not seeing any jetways down here in front of the terminal, so we can, no I am. So we'll go over to the transient area parking here. So we're going to extend out slightly, and then we will turn on the downwind, which is going to be the reciprocal of 060, which is of course 24 degrees. Start to decrease that downward swing there. Speed coming back. Bring that power up. 30. We'll get that gear warning horn back on. And we can make our turn. 240. While we make the turn, we're going to go mixture auto rich. And props are going to go fully forward. It's going to start slowing us down. Speed is still slowly coming back. We want to level off at about 1,900 feet. That's us over the interstate, which is where I wanted to make my turn. Now on the downwind. Lansing area traffic, Allegheny 112, established downwind, mid-downwind, runway 06 at 2,100 feet, Lansing. Alright, so we can start bringing the power back. Autopilot's going off. try to maintain that 2,000 feet or so. Power back there is 150, so we're going to go flaps 1. Nose is going to start to come up as the aircraft slows. This is flaps 2. There's 120 knots, gear down. We want to keep it about 100 until we are on final, and then we will bring her down to about 85 for the final approach. Allegheny area traffic skyways. Allegheny 112 turning base runway 06. Skyways. Listen to me forgetting what I'm flying. Alright, so we're going to go to a 90 degree and see the airport. We'll just do a nice turn. Flaps 3, get the nose down. There's the airport. Coming in on kind of a slant final here. So gear down 3 green. Or 3 green, it's only got 2. Gear down green. Landing lights are on, cabin is notified. There's the airport. Airport in sight. Just make out the runway we're going for. Keep that speed up. Flaps full. Wind should be slightly off our left as we come in. And Lansing area traffic, Allegheny 112, 2 mile final, runway 06, Lansing. There's Kevin coming in. There's the airport. We're a little high. Yeah, let's pull the power. Four whites. Good. Still high. There's the drop. There we go. 2 whites, 2 reds. Slightly high. We're looking good. There's 2 whites, 2 reds again. Watch that speed. We're at 90. That's fine. Reduce our sync rate slightly. That'll bring the speed back. 85. Keeper on the center line. Forward pressure on the stick. Keep the tail up as she slows. Ease the tail down. Tail's down. All right. So we're gonna come off up here at Foxtrot, I believe.
Full stop and
And Lansing area traffic, Allegheny 112, clear runway 06 at Foxtrot, taxiing to the transient ramp via Foxtrot Charlie, crossing 10 right, and Charlie 1. Alright, let's get the flaps up. It's going to take a minute. So we're on Charlie, crossing, oh, we actually wanted to go down that way. That's fine. We'll go over here to Foxtrot. Just take Foxtrot down to Bravo. Alright, so the engines are at about 1,000 RPM, which is where we want them. Come around the corner here on Bravo. There's the main terminal. We do want to see Kevin coming in at some point. So as we taxi in, we can get those cowl flaps open, allow the engines to cool. Lights are off. Thanks, Liam. Appreciate it. All right. So we're going to go in here, and there's the transient ramp. Bit of brake squeal. We're going to throw her over here. That's a good spot for her. All right. So let's get the parking brake set. There we go. Bring the engines up to 1,000 RPM. Make sure they're running well. Everything is looking good. PO heat can come off, windshield heat can come off, position lights will stay on. That is all good. We're good there. And we are good to shut down. Alright, so starting down in the order we started them, so the right engine first. And the left engine. There we go. So the engines are off, we can turn the beacon off, and the position lights can come off, avionics will come off. We'll get her on the battery cart, go away. There we go, battery cart power is on. We'll get everything deployed outside. And generators can come off. We'll turn the mags off. And there we go. The aircraft is shut down and everybody is getting off. Thank you very much for joining us on today's flight. It was a nice one over to the state of Michigan from Iowa. We're not flying tomorrow, but we're back on Friday. We're flying the first of the Satan flights, that series, which is starting now on Fridays. 737-700 out of Denver, Colorado. We're heading down to Phoenix, Arizona. So thank you very much for joining us. Thanks for flying along, Kevin, and we will see you all on the next one. Bye for now.